Okay, hello everybody. Today we are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 in the Cessna Skyhawk. I have poured a labor of love into recreating my home airport and its surroundings in full photogrammetry, recreating the Cessna Skyhawk that I fly in my flight lessons and the airport that I fly from. So hop into the pilot seat with me today and we'll go on a typical flight that I do in my flight lesson and see what 60 gigabytes of custom photogrammetry does to my system and looks like in person. I'll also give you an update on my real life flight lessons. Let's hop into the pilot seat and get started. When I got Microsoft Flight Simulator, I was disappointed that there was no photogrammetry for my area, but I made it. So here we are, 60 gigabytes of custom photogrammetry covering the entire valley where I live. So now I can fly to the practice area, fly to the nearby delta, and have full 3D photogrammetry for the entire flight. In real life, I'm at 21 flight hours for my flight lessons. I've been waiting on my medical certificate, which had a hang-up, but just came in the mail last week. It was perfect timing because I've been struggling during the flare on landings and we've been doing a lot of pattern work trying to sort it out, and suddenly last week it just clicked. My last couple of lessons, every landing has felt like a fight in the flare, and we've been trying to sort it out. And then I woke up last Saturday, came to an 8 a.m. lesson, and here's a clip.
Wyoming Valley traffic, Scott 471 is clear, runway 25, Wyoming Valley.
Very nice.
Oh,
Flaps.
there's the greaser.
Let's get out of here. Sweet.
I have no idea what the hell happened since yesterday, but
Don't worry about it. Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And here's the last landing of the day, and also my last landing with my instructor because his schedule's changing and I'm moving to a new instructor.
Flaps right now. Get the flaps up. Let's just roll.
Yeah. Well, that was a good ending.
Bravo.
I had my first lesson with my new instructor this past Saturday, and I was pretty nervous. It was a new plane, new instructor, and I was worried that that last lesson was an anomaly, and I couldn't explain why the landings all worked out. But it happened again. Landing after landing. Just clicked. There's a guy in my flight school who's a commercial pilot who, when I started lessons, told me, one day you'll wake up, you'll do all the same things that you did the last day, except this day you'll know how to land. And I thought it was an interesting thing to say, and I wasn't quite sure, if that's how it would actually work out. But for me it did, and I seriously, I can't explain it. I did all the same things, and suddenly I could sort it out and land the plane nicely. So I've got a Tuesday lesson with my new instructor to go over some of my air work, make sure that she's ready to sign off on it. Then I have a flight with the chief instructor, and if that works out, then I solo. I'll keep you guys posted. Alright, the Skyhawk that we're in today is a replication of 5207 Quebec. That's the plane that I've done almost all of my flight lessons in, and it's got a really cool blue interior and a blue and white exterior. You can see my 60 gigabytes of custom photogrammetry is a bit taxing at the startup here for the first 10 minutes or so while everything's loading up, but after everything was loaded up, it calmed down and the frames got a lot better. My flight school is an untowered field, but it's underneath a Tersa that is managed by a Class Delta nearby airport. So we usually have 1228, which is CTAF on departure, and then shortly after departing the pattern, we will call up approach for the Tersa, get on their radar and be in contact with ATC. And then if we end up going over to the Class Delta, approach will hand us off to tower. So I've been to the Delta already, which is awesome. I loved talking to ATC, and it's really cool being able to talk on CTAF and also get a chance to talk to ATC on every flight because of the Tersa. This default field in the game is almost completely flat with no buildings, so those buildings and all of these planes and this texture work on the ground here, I created from scratch. This Cessna Skymaster up here on our left is actually parked there in real life. It's one of two Skymasters that frequent our field. If you've seen my previous videos, you've seen a video clip of the actual Skymasters. Wyoming Valley traffic, Skyhawk 07 Quebec, crossing runway 9, Wyoming Valley. This past lesson I was in a different aircraft, and of course my first CTAF call was 07 Quebec. Had to catch myself and change to my new call sign. Okay, we're departing on runway 7, so when I turn here for the run-up, I'm going to turn so I could see final and base for runway 7. Give me a good view of anybody in the pattern while I'm doing my run-up. Okay, we'll check that our flight controls are free and correct. There's a lot of stuff that we do in the run-up, including doing a departure brief, which talks about what happens if we have engine failures during climb out, things like that. Wyoming Valley traffic, Skyhawk 07 Quebec, departing runway 7, Wyoming Valley. Both areas of the runway have these round turnaround areas, and since the runways here are left traffic, we always turn clockwise, so swing to the left and to the right, and that'll give me, again, a really good view of anybody on final or on the base leg. You also get to see the downwind. When I first started taking lessons, taxiing using rudder pedals was a nightmare, and there's no way I would have been able to do a 180-degree turn like I'm doing here, but now it's just second nature. And it feels pretty normal in the sim using rudder pedals as well, although my sim rudder pedals, I think, are overly sensitive. Alright, we're all lined up. We got runway 7 on the compass on the runway, so we'll go to full throttle. We're going to rotate at 55. Winds are variable today. I looked at the windsock in-game, which is set to live weather when we were up in the run-up area, and it was 20 to 7. It's already flip-flopped and is roughly a crosswind. Alright, and we are up. Just off to my left here is a school. You can see the athletic field in front of it. And this is usually about the point when I hit 1,200 feet, which is when I'm able to turn crosswind. So that's pretty accurate. Climb rate here was about the same as it was in real life. Wyoming Valley traffic, Skyhawk 07 Quebec, left crosswind, runway 7, Wyoming Valley. And this is about right on. I usually hit pattern altitude right about here and level out. So you notice we have these mountains here, right parallel to the field, so you're kind of always playing chicken with them when you're on crosswind. But we'll turn downwind now. You can see I've lost some altitude. The throttle in the game is definitely different than the throttle in real life, and I just have to get used to it. Wyoming Valley traffic, Skyhawk 07 Quebec, departing the downwind to the west, heading to the west practice area, Wyoming Valley. Alright, let's sit back and enjoy that awesome custom photogrammetry. Alright, that was pretty cool. So the photogrammetry definitely is taxing on the system. Once it loads up, it's not too bad on frames, but where you really see it is at any time you change the camera view, even if you're just looking left and right in the airplane, so you get these really big stutters for a few seconds until everything stabilizes. So that's the cost of having all of this awesome realness for the scenery. For me though, it's so super cool just to be able to fly around my area, see the real buildings, see the actual landmarks. and feel like I'm really having one of my flight lessons in the simulator. So I hope you enjoy content like this. If you do, be sure to click that like button, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, as always, for flying along with me, and stay tuned for further flight adventures.